Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AOR Tier 2 on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 4. Now on board with my fastest qualifying lap on Sausage Curb City. You can see we've hooked up turn 1 quite nicely there. It's actually wet again this week, which is frustrating as this makes 3 out of my 4 races wet, but it's actually probably a good thing for me because I was absolutely nowhere pace-wise here, so the wet might help level the playing field a little bit. You see, we had moments in the first sector we were quite massively up, but we've sort of thrown them away. You can see there we've gained 3 tenths through that corner there, heading up to this blind left-hander that can be very tricky, very easy to lose the car. Again, giving up pretty much all the time that we had gained on that corner just previous, and now heading to the corkscrew, the worst corner in existence, and nice and smooth through there, but not really that quick. Exactly level with a delta that's not very good, which means we're currently 13th. And coming now to the penultimate corner, can we gain some time? A little bit hesitant there on the turn-in, gained maybe a tenth, and now for the final corner, full commitment, got to try and get all the time out of this lap that we can. You can see we were almost 3 tenths up there for a second, but lost it all because our exit wasn't the best, and a 10th improvement on a lap that wasn't too great. 29.088, which doesn't even improve our position actually. We've 13th out of 17th, second and a half off pole position, which is concerning. I was hoping the wet might have brought me a bit closer, but at best I think I might have had 10th there, maybe 7th with an absolutely perfect lap, but you're not going to get one around this track in the wet. But moving on to the start of the race now. Hopefully it goes a bit better than the last few times. You can see we almost actually would have got a penalty there because we were over for a fraction of a second, but looks like we're holding position for now. We're going side by side into turn 1. Porsche ahead of us has gone to the grass to avoid a car in front of him, and he's come back on the track, and that's our race. Perfect. What was feeling like a pretty good start. I wanted to keep it nice and cool. This race was going to be a race of attrition, I knew, because so many opportunities to bin it. So many cars struggle in the wet, unless you're a Lexus, and the nature of the track was always going to mean that people made mistakes, but that right there took away any opportunity at a good result, really. That's not ideal either, going on the grass, but we get away with it. We actually hold position, but 12 seconds of damage means we're not going to be as quick as we can be. We're going to be losing time on the straights, probably in the corners as well a little bit. It's just not how you want the race to start. You want maybe a little bit of side-to-side bumping isn't that bad, but a full-on head-on collision like that is sort of a race ruiner. And we're going to have to waste that time in the pits as well. As you can see, Rico's been overtaken or gone a bit deep into the corkscrew, and we've now come up to the back of him quite nicely. I don't know if he was caught up in that at all. Maybe he has damage, I'm not sure, but Ferrari have flat spun out, staying in position ahead of him, and now we are quite close behind him. I didn't expect to gain so much through that final corner alone. And we're right on his back. Are we going to think about a move into turn 1? We are. We brake late into turn 1, hitting the apex nicely. He's still there on the outside. Can we get the position? Can we get the traction out the corner? And it looks like we can. Nice move. That is a genuine overtake. Maybe the first one I've done in this league so far. 4 races in. So that is actually probably the best overtake and only overtake. Yeah, I can't think of any others. But he's thinking about coming back at us now, but we've defended it quite nicely. And to be honest, how easy it was to sort of catch him and get past on the opening lap, I didn't think he'd be much of a threat. And we're nice and cautious through here, as is the car ahead, and I think we've actually gained quite nicely on him through the blind left-hander, heading into the corkscrew. Nice and cool, keeping it nice and calm, The only goal for the corkscrew is just not to spin. You don't really care how much speed you take through it, just don't get too greedy with it. As we go out very wide, that gives Rico a bit of an opportunity onto the penultimate corner. So we defend it, and he can't put his car anywhere. I'm not sure if it got a little tap there or not. He got very close to the back of us. Rounding the final corner, you can see Flat spun out, who we spent 50 minutes of the Misano race stuck behind without him making any mistakes. You can see we've spent about 10 minutes behind him now. We're cutting to the 48th minute. He goes a bit deep into the corkscrew. This was the first chance I really had to make a move on him. He's offline, and we think about hanging around the outside, but the track falls away, so it was never going to work. A little bit of a switchback. He goes a bit defensive. Can this open up the corner nicely? But no, we've caught the grass, and that was actually a pretty nice save by us to stop that from rotating fully. It's very easy to overcorrect and end up with the momentum carrying you all the way around in the other direction, but it's annoying because that was the chance to get past him. You can see we're still behind him 6 minutes later. Almost approaching the pit window now as Rotters 91 has gone off in the Nissan. So that's a free position up to 9th, which with the damage is pretty good. I'm not actually sure whether that's because of some people pitting or it's just people have made mistakes. You can see now we're lowering our tyre pressures for the pit stop. Tyres were getting quite worn, I think, so I wanted to alleviate that. But you can see Rotters has got a great run on us through the right left-hander, and we've collided with him and spun round, and that is just disastrous, really. I was pitting that lap as well. I was trying to let him through, and I thought I'd backed off enough, but at the time I thought it was my fault, but I think it's more 50-50 as we come into the pits. I think it was just the case of him moving over a little bit where he's sort of entitled to, but I was still there, you know, and you can see this pit stop, we've broken for the box like an absolute pleb, and our race has just gone from bad to worse in the space of a minute, really, and that's 30 seconds we've lost probably on this lap alone, I think. As we now exit the pits, that is just disastrous. A double reverse to try and get into the box. I know it's my fault that it hasn't gone well for me in any race so far, that I need to practice it more, but it just seems so silly that you're behind the stop board and they won't do anything to your car unless you're half a millimetre backwards. It really irritates me, but I know it's something that I need to work on because it's thrown away various positions for me over the course of this season so far. And now skipping ahead quite a bit, as this is a lap car actually. Kiselev nearly oversteers into us after running wide. That would have been just the icing on the cherry of the cake. It's not how cakes are made, but it would have been the icing on the cherry of the cake. But get past him without too much trouble. Just would have been disastrous if he actually oversteered into us. You can see now this is one of the Porsche drivers. This is I believe this is Leroy or Ross. Look, their cars look identical. I think this one's Leroy though. You can see he goes very deep into the corkscrew and then just loses the back end and spins into the third to last corner. A little bit of a bump and grind with the wall there, and he's still stuck on the grass. Wow. The Porsche really struggling in the wet, it seems. Maybe as the tyres got worn it just sort of became useless, but he lost so much time to us. He was so much further ahead, and he actually, before that he'd had I think another couple of spins as well, so this is looking like a free position for us really to get us up to 11th. We do still have to get past him though, and there isn't too much time left. If he keeps his car in the right places on the track, it would still be tough to get past him. Just because he's struggling with tyres doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be slow. Now into turn 1, you can see we've just in that braking zone we're gaining on him massively. I know obviously there's a bit of a concertina, but just coming out of it, we've gained insane amounts on him through there. And now he's hit the sausage curb into turn 3, and that's the position. This position is now ours. Perfect. Now 8 minutes. Not really a hope of going forwards or backwards, just gotta try and make sure I stay in 11th. And now this is Ross, who is in the other Porsche, and similar thing, very similar thing. It looks like he got a little bit of the curb. He was being very cautious into it anyway, so the Porsche clearly struggling massively at this track. And you can see him now, right ahead of us. That was a lap car again, that was Kiselev again, getting out of the way. But this is Ross a bit further on in the race, just ahead of us by a couple of seconds. We've got 6.5 minutes left in this race now, and 10th place is very much there. We aren't really in danger of being lapped. No chance of getting 9th, but 10th is definitely there. As we now go on board with Ross, who's just ahead of us. Does he lose it through here? No, he keeps it nice and tidy, and this is an interesting line. Very interesting line through that corner. He went off to the Shadow Realm, it seems, and nothing else happened, and I finished the race in 10th place, which is just more mediocrity from myself this season. Never a chance to win the season at all, but you know, as older I would have been, I think, fighting at least for the top 6 or 7. Kyle Army, I was in 6th and then spun this race. My pace wasn't there, but if you take out like the 30 billion seconds I've lost through damage, that spin, and in the pits, I definitely could have been fighting higher up the field, maybe for 7th or 8th or something. It's better than nothing, but congratulations to the Lexus Wetmobile, who wins again in Roadhouse. I think that's 3 in a row from him, so good job.